Welcome back to Double Down University. I'm back with you guys with another KBO PrizePicks video. I have 3 props that I really like on the board for Wednesday. I know that it's going to be slow sports wise, especially for you guys that are big MLB fans, as there won't be any MLB to probably like late week, so like Thursday, Friday action. So, and just in the meantime, I will be posting KBO daily for the to bridge that gap between KBO and the MLB. So the 3 props that I like for today is YOON He over 2 hits, runs, and RBIs. Kim Do-young over 2 hits, runs, and RBIs as well. And then last but not least, I like Kim Tae-yin under 2 hits, runs, and RBIs. And so let's break them down. Let's start with the first one. Let's start with the Lotte batter. Now, before I jump into his breakdown, I'm going to kind of pretty much go over my thought process when I break down the hits, runs, and RBIs. Mainly, the biggest thing you want to look for, I look at team totals, that projected team totals for the game, because that tells you a lot. Because if a team is going to get under a certain amount of runs, then that means that they're not going to have a lot of opportunities to go over unless they get 2 to 3 hits in a game, which is kind of hard to do in baseball. But then again, in KBO, it's not that hard to do because of the lack of pitching, or the lack of quality pitching, I should say, in this league. And then also the outfielding is terrible. Like the defense, as I touched on in previous videos, the defense is horrible in this league. I think a couple little leaguers can give them a run for their money. A lot of these outfielders and infielders, with the amount of errors that they create. But anyway, so let's get into it. So basically, Hanwha, they are slated to be under. As you can see here, is juiced to the under for them to get 4.5 runs. So that plays in the part why I like the under for the Hanwha's batter as well. And then also the 2 big overs for this game as far as team totals for teams is Kia at over 4.5 at -145, and then also for Lotte, which is they're kind of split in the middle, is even money on both sides, whether they're going to go over 5.5 runs. But 5.5 is a pretty healthy number for, especially if you're picking a batter for that team, and just hopefully that they're going to be productive in their at bats to be able to help the team go over, and not be a detriment to the team where the other players around them will go over their lines as opposed to them. But that's the risk you take. It is gambling at the end of the day, so you can't always be right all the time. All we can do is look at the numbers and project what each player can do. So let's start off with the Lotte batter. So let's look at the opposing pitcher that he's going up against, the Lotte batter that we have for to go over. He's going up against a 20-year-old pitcher. He doesn't have too much innings pitched under his belt to have like a bigger sample size, but the sample size that he does have tells me that he is a pitcher that gives up a lot of contact. As you can see, he has a left on base percentage of 67%, which is horrible. Anything north of 70% is really, really good, or really, really elite. And then his ERA is 5.87. Now, granted, I don't really take too much into account for ERA because, like I said, the defense is bad. I kind of look at more FIP score as opposed to ERA, because FIP kind of takes out your defense and just focuses on what you do, whether you walk batters, whether you strike them out, whether you give a bunch of runs. That basically tells you more. Is more telling in this league as opposed to ERA. So as you can see, his FIP is way higher than his ERA, and his expected FIP is right on par to where his ERA is. So that tells you that he's pretty much self-inducing a lot of these these runs and errors, and allowing base runners on base. His whip is terrible. His whip is 150. The average whip is somewhere around 130. So he's well higher than that. 130 or below is really, really good as far as whip. He's well above that as well. And then he doesn't induce a lot of ground balls as well. He's 47%, so he allows a lot of fly ball contact, which is bad for a pitcher because that leads to home runs. Line drive, not too much of a line drive, but fly ball can do the same amount of damage, especially the power hitters. Now let's go on to our batter and kind of look at his advanced metrics as well. I don't know why these ads keep popping up in the middle of what I'm trying to show you guys, but right now. So okay, so his ISO power score, it's just him alone, his how much he creates, his ability to get extra base hits. His ISO power is 141, which is really good. His ball's batting in play, so when he does put the ball in play, he has a 344 average. His WOBA is really good as well, as 274, which is elite. And it's also runs created runs created plus the baseline for that is 100, so he's well above that at 115, so I like that as well. And then also he doesn't strike out. He has a 16% strikeout rate, and it also has a really good walk rate at 11%, which is really good. His slugging percentage is 436, which is good. His OPS is really good at 815, excuse me. His on base percentage is good. It can be higher, but can't complain. He has a 295 batting average as well. He is pretty much a ground ball hitter, but I think with this pitching staff, I think he's going to be able to do well against whether he puts the ball on the ground or not. I think he will have opportunities for RBI potential as well. Now let's look into their other peripheral, like situational stuff. So for this pitcher going up against batters, now this is a righty on righty matchup, so right-handed pitcher going up against a right-handed batter. Now he gives up a better average to lefties as opposed to righties, but I'm not too concerned with that. Like I said, he pretty much struggles with everybody he faces. Now the biggest thing that's most telling, I should say, is his runners on base. As you can see, runners in scoring position, he gives up a 354 batting average against opponents. And then also just runners on anywhere past first base, so like any runners on second base or third base, he gives up a 341 batting average to batters on second base. He gives up a 316 batting average to batters on third base. So that is really bad, especially when you trying to prevent runs as a pitcher as opposed to give up runs. So, and then far as counts, when he gets behind in the count, batters have a better batting average, which is crazy. That just goes to show you that he doesn't have a put away pitch, because anytime when you're behind in the count as a pitcher, well, actually vice versa, excuse me, I messed it up. So for a pitcher, behind in the count is different, meaning 2-0, 3-0, that's for a pitcher. So if batters get ahead in the count against him, then he's giving up a 375 batting average. Now if he's ahead in the count, meaning 0-2, 1-2, 2-2, well, I guess 0-2 and 1-2, that's pretty much ahead in the count because you have more strikes than you have balls. Pause, no diddy. But he basically gives up a 145 batting average, which is really good when he's ahead in the count. So that means he's a pretty solid pitcher when he's ahead in the count, but he struggles when he's in the same count and behind in the count. So fast forward to our hitter. Let's look at him as well. So him in the same situation. So let's go to, he is actually killing the ball off of righties. He's batting 347 against righties. And then also counts. Let's look and see. Actually, when he's behind in the count is when he does his most damage. So, and like I said, he's not a predominant strikeout pitcher. This guy is going up against, so he's batting 463, excuse me. And then also he's average when he's in the same count or behind in the count, but I don't think that matters in this matchup. I think he will be more in advantageous positions than anything. And then also with runners on base, he is batting 313. Runners on first base, he's batting 365. And then runners on second base and beyond, 319 and 333. So he hits really well with runners on base. So I really like that as well for him. And then moving on to our next matchup is Denny Reyes. So Denny Reyes is a really solid pitcher, but I just think that his time is coming where he's going to reverse, from being really good. As you can see here, he has a great left on base percentage of 74.6 percentage, and then he is not a great strikeout pitcher. The baseline for K percentage is 20. He's well below that at 18%, so he's not a heavy strikeout guy. Walk guy, he's not too much of, he don't give up a lot of walks either. He allows almost 2 walks a game. His whip is okay, it's average. His balls batted into play is 324. So, but one thing that I noticed about him, and I'll kind of tell you guys this because I'm looking at it off of my phone as opposed to showing you guys on screen because the app is like messing up my KBO stats. So with him, I was looking at his last 3 to 4 starts, and so there's this thing called a game score. So what a game score basically is when a pitcher starts the game, they start with 50, and it basically determines how good your start is or how bad your start is. And normally the higher the score, the better. Basically think of it like this. So if you have a 70 or 80 game score, that means that you pretty much out of the time that you pitched, you gave your team a 70 or 80% chance of winning, as opposed to if anything below 50% is pretty bad. So he had a game score. His last game was 36, which he gave his team a 36% chance of winning. The game before that, it was 69, which is really good, and then 55, 56, and 53, and then 35. So he's pretty much like giving it an even start. Pretty much, it's like he doesn't give his team an advantageous spot. He doesn't put him in an advantageous spot to be able to win games. So he's kind of like, hit or miss most of the time, and a lot of times he's just average, when 55, 56, that's not, giving your team a great advantage. So that's one thing that I noticed about him. So he is hittable. Now, granted, he had I think he faced him 4 times, this hitter from Kia, and one of the times in the last game, he basically hit a home run against him, and so he covered, the over 2 by hitting a home run. But let's look into his numbers. So this guy is amazing. Like, this guy is elite. Like, he has a 17% K rate, which is really good. He doesn't strike out a lot. Has a 9% walk rate. So he walks, he gets on base via walk. He has a 343 batting average. He has a 412 on base percentage. It has a 613 slugging percentage, which is incredible. And his weighted on base is insane at 444. His runs created is insane as well. As I told you guys, the baseline is 100, and he has 160, so he's way above that. And then also his ISO power is insane as well, at 270, so he's way above that as well. The one thing for the ISO power, the average ISO power batting average is 140. He's at 270, so that is insane. So I really like him in this spot to do damage against Denny Reyes. Another thing, let's look into their split. So same thing, he doesn't have a real good advantage against righties in this spot. As you can see here, he gives up a 264 batting average to righties, as opposed to a 282 batting average against lefties. But I'm not worried about that. I'm not concerned about that. Same thing, let's look at him with runners on base. Now, he may be a little more stingy with runners in scoring position. As I told you, his left on base percentage is 74%. As you can see here, it's 216 with runners in scoring position. That's kind of basically why his left on base percentage is so high, because he leaves runners in scoring position stranded. Now, vice versa, let's look at his peripherals. He kills the ball off of righties. He's batting 360 against righties, and then also he has 15 home runs against righties and 33 RBIs. Runners and so basically, let's look at his runners in scoring position. He bats 322 with runners on scoring position. With runners on first base, he bats 325, and then runners on second base, he bats 338. So I really like him in this spot as well. That is our second over batter, which is the Kia batter. And then also let's go on to our under. Now this one I really like, because for one of 2 reasons. For one reason, he's not good against lefties. Let me show you guys. Let's see. Where is it? Okay, here it is. So against lefties, he bats 255, right? He only has 14 hits, 7 doubles, 1 home run, 3 RBIs. And then he walked 5 times, which is pretty much irrelevant unless he scores. But he's going up against this Daniel Castro guy, who is really good at limiting base runners as well. He has a 72% left on base percentage, as you can see here, 72%. Let me see, just took me out of it. Where is it at? Can't find it. Here it is. Okay, so he has 72% left on base percentage. And then also he has a 18% K rate, which around about to 18% K rate. Doesn't really walk too many batters as well. Even if he does walk him, I think that he will leave him stranded. And then the kicker, this is the big thing why I chose his unders, because this guy, either he strikes out batters or he has a 66% ground ball rate. So he's getting a lot of contact on the ground, and that is leading to double plays, things of that nature. And then also tie that in with the hitter. Now the hitter, his batting profile, he has a 21% K rate, so he strikes out a lot. And then also he has a 60 something percent. Let me see, where is it? Yep, 63% ground ball percentage. So that works hand in hand. So he basically is going to hit the ball on the, he predominantly hits the ball on the ground. And if he does hit the ball on the ground, it induces double plays. Now another key factor in this as well, and I'm gonna kind of go into another tab here to show you guys. So this is baseball, it's MLB. Let's go to KBO. Where's my KBO bookmark? Here it is. Okay, last thing with him. So the reason why I like it even more is when I looked at the fielding of the NC Dinos, they are the second best team in fielding percentage, so they don't create a lot of errors. As you can see here, they induce about 6 days, second least double plays, but I'm not too concerned with that. I'm more concerned with fielding percentage, because if he does hit the ball on the ground, I need them to be able to, get that as a for sure out to be able to keep him under. So I really like that as well, to pair it along with his struggles against lefties, and also his ground ball percentage, as he induces a lot of ground balls. So that is why I like his under. So those are my three, and I'll go back over them once this comes back up. Let me see. Come on. Alright, so I'm gonna have to recreate it for y'all again real quick. So like I said, we have the Kia hitter and the Lotte hitter. So we have Yoon Dong Hee, right, over. Come on. Okay. And then we also have Kim Do Yang over as well for the Kia hitter. And then we have the Hanwha hitter, which is Mr. Kim Tae Yin, under 2. So those are our three. I appreciate you guys. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.